my mother left Senegal with me, yeah, when I was almost 6 years old, and we moved to Houston. And like many immigrants, especially undocumented immigrants, my mother was documented, but she had a seventh grade education. She grew up very poor. And so, you know, when she came to the States, the work that was available to her was domestic work. And so she did hair braiding, she cleaned homes, and then eventually she ended up being a nanny for over 2 decades. And Nikiatu's mother also did domestic work, even though she came from a very highly educated background. Similar to Aisha, who's also highly educated, that wasn't necessarily honored in the States. And so she also had to turn to domestic work to make money.
Aisha's here.
Aisha.
I don't want you to feel overwhelmed.
Okay.
Here's any number you need, including her therapist. Thank you.
How was this role pitched to you when you first heard about this role? Because it's so multi-layered with the horror and the psychological aspect of it. What was your impression of what you were getting into before you actually got in front of the camera?
Yeah, I had become aware of the script because the whole industry was really buzzed about it in 2020. Like, everyone was talking about the Nanny script. So I was really curious about it. And then finally it was greenlit and they were casting, and I read it and I completely understood why, just the storytelling and how original it felt. Because even though it's a story that's so personal to me, it felt very... I just knew this woman and I knew this world that she was navigating very well. But we had never seen this woman on screen before, or focused our gaze on her. And so, you know, an immigrant woman, a Black woman from West Africa that's poor, that's broke, that's like we've never focused our gaze on these women. So, though again, it's a story in a world I'm very familiar with. We'd never seen it before, so I was just thrilled. I was excited. I didn't even focus really much on the horror aspects of it. I was just excited by the human story of it. This woman that reminded me of my mother and a lot of women that I've known growing up.
What did you use from your mother's experience for that, or just being with a child?
Yeah. My mother, every family that she works with, I mean, everyone that meets my mom, Lexi included, she's just such a warm, like, everyone loves my mom. She's very warm. She's like born to be a grandmother. I feel like she's just a very warm, loving presence. And the children adored her. And I guess just being, I'm a curious person. I'm always watching people. I'm always studying human behavior and trying to understand why everyone loves her so much, and especially why children are so drawn to her. And kind of breaking that down in my mind helped me to find Aisha and helped me to find that warmth that I needed to create in order to make it make sense that Rose would then be so attracted to this woman. And maybe I naturally have some of that too, because it's my mom and it's me. And so, but yeah, I did. I thought a lot about why children love my mom and why people in general kind of gravitate towards her.
When she was feisty, you used some of the feistiness of your mom?
Of course. Yeah. Because as warm as she is, whew, if she gets upset, you know, she's a survivor. I mean, she's a Senegalese woman, and she like Aisha too. If there's something that's happening that is crossing the line for her, or that's infringing on her own dignity and integrity, she will respond swiftly and directly and strongly. Yeah. So yeah, whenever I have to play something that's telling someone how it is, or standing up for myself, I think of my mom for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I love the scenes where you put your foot down and demand the money. That that came easily to you. That standing up for yourself that way. I take it. Yes.
I wouldn't say it came easily. It's also at that point in the story, Aisha's also being imbued by the Mami Wata and the Anansi, these figures of resilience and rebellion. And so she is, in her behavior, becoming less apologetic, bolder, more determined. Yeah, but all of that, I wouldn't say it came easily, but I'm familiar with it.
Were you aware of the folklore of Ainse and Mama Wat before this movie?
I wasn't. In Senegal, we have our own symbols and our own, items of spirituality and stuff that we lean into. But they weren't necessarily these two. That was really Nikiatu's research and work and understanding the origins of a lot of West African spirituality, which I actually wasn't that familiar with, no.
What are the ones that you are familiar with that freak you out?
You know, my mother is like, she very much believes in all of this, just like Kathleen does in the film. And in the film, too, Aisha speaks to her elders back home and her own mother, who always believed in it, but her not so much, and that's very much the case for me. But my mother has, there's a ring that I wear all the time that my mother had made for me in Senegal, and it's written, these prayers are written into it and then put into this piece of silver and then sealed. But she very much believes in all of that, and she has me douse myself with holy water all the time to protect me or to attract a man into my life, or she very much believes in those items that are really part of the culture and the identity of Senegalese mysticism and spirituality.
Is it working?
Well, I'm very well protected, I feel, and I have a lot of grace and favor in my life. But the men part could use some help. Yeah, I think they need to adjust that prayer a little bit.
Well, you got him in the movie. You had Malik in the movie.
I did.
And what a wonderful portrayal of a black man in this movie.
I agree.
And the fact that he was so patient with your character to get you to the point, because you didn't want any part of that relationship going in, did you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Aisha doesn't want anything that's going to divert from her focus, which is to bring Lemmy in here, and anything that threatens that, she's not a part of, right? She's hyper-focused, she keeps her head down. But Malik proves to be a very comforting thing and something that's actually helping her and sustaining her and keeping her happy and many times sane, as we see through the film. But it was a gorgeous portrayal, and Sinqua played it gorgeously. Yeah.